Hey everyone, I'm back from my vacation from Florida. I definitely meant to make some content while I was down there because I thought it would be nice in like a different location and everything. But between like the palm trees and sitting by the pool and drinking like a hard lemonade and stuff, like it just was a little hard to like motivate myself to actually make a video. I was just having too much of a good time just relaxing. But then when I got back from Florida, even more stuff happened. First of all, landing here, I was on the runway. We were sitting on the runway for like an hour in the plane. And then on top of it, we had to wait another probably like 30 or so minutes for our luggage because of the rain. There was like a weird rain delay, whatever. And then like a day or two later, my friend texts me, and that's what this video is actually going to be about. My friend texts me about if you don't know, the All American Rejects, the band, they are doing like a house party, like small shows all over the US. From my understanding, the Nashville one was kind of going to be their last one for a little while, so I don't know what that means for the future of these shows, but she texted me because she got the insider scoop that it was happening in Nashville on, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday night of this past week. So I was like, okay, we're going, even if we don't make it in, because we knew it was going to be absolutely insane because the last one they did, I think it was in Missouri, almost got shut down by the police because noise complaints, obviously. So all day we were texting back and forth, trying to figure out how to get there, like, where's the address? Because they try to keep it a secret until like an hour before. And they do have like a text list that you can sign up for. But unfortunately for the one for Nashville, I don't know if they were doing this in other cities, but for the show in Nashville, we were hearing that they were only sending out the address to people with a 615 area code in their phone number. So we were like, neither of us, being from Illinois, have a 615 area code. So we were like, okay. So luckily, my friend Emily is pretty connected, not just with, actually, she knows the guitarist of the band All American Rejects. So we got a little... He wouldn't tell us the address, but he did tell us because later something happens, which I'll get to. But later he does give us the scoop about something, so I'll tell you that in a second. But she knew somebody I think she goes to church with or something that for some reason figured out that the address, the time, like we were getting all of that from her. And we were fully, this is what I love about my friend Emily too, is that we just have the understanding that it's like, we're going to go, we're going to scope it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. We're going to try our best, but like low expectations. Like we're not going to try to force anything. We're just going to have a good time and like keep it rolling. We decide we're like, okay, we're going to go scope it out. And then the minute she comes to pick me up that night, she opens the door and she like looking at her phone and she's like, so there's an email that they had sent out or a text, whatever, that they sent out to the people who RSVP'd, saying that, I can try to add the photo if I can find it in here. They sent out this text thing saying that like, they were kind of alluding that the show was canceled. Reading this back, they don't really specifically say that it was canceled, but they alluded to the fact that it was canceled because supposedly 16,000 people had RSVP'd for the show. And we're like, oh shit. And my friend Emily also said that she heard that people were lining up at like really early in the day at this house. And we found out it was in East Nashville. So we got the address like way earlier in the day because apparently too, the reason they were going to potentially cancel it is because the address got leaked. I think, this is just me speculating, I think the girl who hosted the show, I think told too many of her friends and they just started yapping because this is Nashville. If something like that's happening in Nashville, it's gonna get around, okay? So, and the information just blew up. Apparently it was on like Reddit, it was everywhere, so everybody already knew where the house party was gonna be. So they tried to curtail how many people would come by saying that it was canceled. And my friend Emily texted the guitarist and said, hey, is this actually canceled or should we still go? He was like, no, it's still happening. I think they were trying to just like crowd control a little bit by saying it was canceled. So we got the info that it was in East Nashville. We're like, okay, well, let's just drive over there and see. Because like I said, we were hearing about there was a line forming early in the day. So we're like, is it going to be in the front yard? Is it going to be in the backyard? Like, how are they going to manage so many people coming and trying to see this? So we drive over there and immediately, I have like tons of videos from this night. Immediately we see this crazy line just wrapped around the block from where the house is. And we're like, oh shit, like, we're not getting in this house party. We're like, we're not standing in line. And then so we drove like a few blocks down, parked on the street, walked over, and we didn't see the line because I think we kind of were a block over from where the line was. But we see everybody going through this alleyway, and we find the alleyway that was like behind the house, because we're like, we're definitely not getting in the backyard. If it's in the backyard, we're not getting in because the line was insane. And so we find the alleyway. People are just starting to like herd in this alleyway behind the house. And we're like, this is fine. We'll just stand here and we'll be fine. And it didn't, before the show even started, it was really like not packed back there. It was pretty calm. And even when it started, it wasn't that bad. Like, it was okay. It was fine. But we're like, we're just gonna stand right here and we're gonna just wait. And if we get to hear them, if it gets crazy, if stuff's, whatever. They did have I think like an opener. I don't know who the opener was, but we heard a girl singing. We also just like followed the music. We heard a girl singing, and we're like, okay, that must be where it is. Or this is somebody else's house who just happens to be having a show at the same time. This is where some stuff starts to get a little, not crazy, but some stuff starts to get a little crazy about the show. So we're standing back in this alleyway, and obviously after a while, I think the people who couldn't get in, we were also hearing that like basically it was just wristbands. So if you didn't get a wristband, you're not getting in. So I'm like, thank God we did not stand in the line because it would have been a waste of time. But then, of course, once the show starts getting going, people realizing they can't get inside, they're just kind of start forming a line in the back of the house in the alleyway. Or not a line, but like we were just crowded in back there. And people were bringing ladders to stand on. People were stealing people's trash cans to stand on to like see over the fence from the alleyway. There were people literally bringing, this was the craziest part to me, was that people were bringing ladders. I think I heard that people were stealing ladders from other people's houses and stuff like that, and like stealing them, bringing them over. And then there was a guy literally in front of me who rented a ladder for $150 that night. Because this guy just came up and was like, who wants a ladder? Who wants a ladder? And just like to the highest bidder. And this guy was like $150. So he rented a ladder for $150. And I even found out later that same guy who rented the ladder for $150 eventually just ended up jumping the fence and like getting in. So I'm like, I don't know what the point of renting the ladder was for if you were just going to hop the fence, but whatever. I also don't know how he got it back to him at the end of the night, because like it just got so crowded that I'm like, I don't know how these people found each other afterwards. Probably didn't. Probably just left it there. But it was funny because there were so many people like standing on stuff or standing on ladders or whatever and like trying to look over. And then so many people said like even from the top of the ladder, they really couldn't see much because it's like you're looking over a fence and you're like, there's just a sea of people. And then like way in the back, it's like where the stage was. A lot of people were offering other people to like stand on the ladder and like check it out if they wanted to, which was really nice. But I was like, if you guys can barely see anything, like I just honestly don't care what it looks like from the top of the ladder. So we're like, we're just gonna chill down here. It was funny too, because there was a guy, like I said, there was the alleyway and there's the yard for the show. And then the people behind that yard, in their own yard, there was a guy standing like kind of peering over the fence. It was so funny. And he's like, people are like, how much money can I give you to like stand on that side and like, get a better view or whatever. And he's like, nah, like this isn't even my house. I'm just house sitting. But it was so funny because there was just this guy like kind of peering over the whole time. He had no idea what was going on. He's like, what is this for? And he actually like took a video of all of us to just be like, hey, I want to like tell the homeowner what's going on. He's like, just takes a video of us all just like, yeah. It was honestly really fun back there in the alley. I heard like people inside were kind of like, it was not the greatest vibes because it was just like a lot of younger people. I think because of the girl who owns the house. I think she's a little bit younger. And it was funny because I felt like all of the millennials or the people who grew up listening to the All American Rejects were the ones in the alleyway. And we actually knew the songs. We were like, yeah. But so I feel like it was a better vibe in the back. There were a lot of people too. I took this video. You can't really see much, but like there were people who did kind of ruin it. There was a guy climbing a tree, And it's one thing to climb the tree and just sit in there, but I know a lot of people were like hopping the fence. And that eventually did become an issue. I saw a video of a girl just straight up breaking a fence and like breaking it so people could like get in the show, which was just ridiculous. By the time we left, there were definitely like posts broken from the fence. That was just not cool. I'm like, I understand you want to get in there, but like, don't at least like intentionally break the fence. I mean, I kind of admit that like, I'm not surprised people jumped the fence to get inside, but to intentionally break the fence so people can just like run in is ridiculous. Like, don't do that. So as far as I know too, like cops were not called, as far as I know. I think the neighbors too were like pretty chill with it. Like I said, that guy who was behind us didn't really care. I mean, he didn't own the home, but he didn't care. There were a few people too, like a little bit farther down in one of the houses that they were out in their backyard too, or their back like alleyway, I guess. Just kind of hanging out and like having a drink and whatever. And so, but I'm trying to think if there's any other things or questions or whatever that people have been asking me about it. But all in all, it was just fun. I think it also, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard people say that they're doing this kind of as a FU to things like Ticketmaster and stuff, which I think is great because it really shows that like you really don't need these big arenas that take all this money or big ticket things or whatever to like have a show and have a show that people want to go to and enjoy. Like people want to go to these shows, but it's crazy how expensive it's gotten. And I think it's just cool. It just really proves that like, you just don't need all of that to like put on a good show and have fun. And doing these house shows is so cool. It really takes me back to like being in middle school and high school where I would go to my friends' houses or parents' basements or church basements and we'd have shows and it was so fun. And I look back on that so fondly. So to do this, it just really like brought me back to that time. Highly recommend, even if it's not All American Rejects, but if there's a show in your town that's like, or if you find out about something that's like having in somebody's basement or backyard, or like do it. It's so fun. It's just a different vibe. It's a good time. But anyway, that's my spiel. But thanks for watching. I'll be back with more videos now that I'm back from Florida. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.